They say pain doesn't always scream. Sometimes, it whispers behind closed doors buried in routines, frozen in muscle memory. Before the world knew her as the icon in oversized hoodies, whispering heartbreak into microphones, Billie Eilish was a dancer. A quiet, dedicated, intensely expressive dancer. It's the part of her story most fans overlook. But what happened in a small, empty studio when she was just 14 might explain everything. She had just quit dancing, a decision that felt less like a choice and more like a defeat. Injuries, pressure, and something darker brewing under the surface had forced her to step away. And in that hollow space where movement used to bring freedom, silence grew roots. One evening, unable to sleep, Billie returned to the studio. No teachers, no friends. Just a dim overhead light buzzing like a faulty memory. She pressed record on her phone and stepped onto the floor. This wasn't a performance. It wasn't for TikTok or an audition. This was her, unfiltered, unrehearsed, unwell. For 2 minutes and 34 seconds, Billie danced. Not with grace, but with rage. Not in rhythm, but in resistance. Each step looked like it hurt. Not because of the injuries, but because of what the movements meant. Her arms jerked as if pulling something invisible from her chest. Her legs collapsed like the weight of something unseen had overtaken her. She wasn't trying to impress anyone. She was trying to survive. At the 1:47 mark, she froze. Her hand clutched her stomach. Her other hand covered her mouth. And then she dropped slowly, deliberately onto the studio floor. The music kept playing. But Billie didn't. The video ends with silence. Not the kind you get when a song fades, but the kind that follows an emotional landslide. She didn't upload it. She didn't delete it either. It sat on her phone for almost a year, until someone found it. Not a hacker, not a producer. A technician hired to recover corrupted files on her cracked device. He wasn't a fan. He didn't even know who she really was. But something about that video haunted him. A few months later, a heavily compressed, anonymous video titled "The Broken Dance" appeared on a fringe internet forum dedicated to unexplainable content. No metadata, no credits, no origin. Just a shaky, dark recording of a girl dancing like she was exorcising something painful. It spread like wildfire. Not because people recognized her, but because they felt her. Some said it was a performance art project. Others believed it was a visual manifestation of mental illness. But most viewers agreed on one thing. Whoever she wasn't okay. What they didn't know is that Billie had seen the clip go viral, and she panicked. In interviews, she'd always been candid about depression, anxiety, body image, and the struggle to feel seen without being stared at. But this was different. This was raw. This wasn't curated vulnerability, it was exposure. She never confirmed it was her. But if you listen closely to her 2017 debut EP, "Don't Smile at Me," there are lyrics, fragments, and whispered lines that feel pulled straight from that floor in the studio. Lines like, "I want to be alone, alone with your ghost," or "My limbs aren't mine tonight." It wasn't long after that when Billie started talking publicly about her mental health in ways that didn't feel like PR. She wasn't campaigning, she was confessing. She once said in a podcast, "I don't remember the girl I was before music happened, but I remember the pain. That's still familiar." Somewhere between fame and fatigue, she transformed that pain into art. But not always neatly, not always successfully, and not without scars. And here's the part most people never hear. A few years after The Broken Dance disappeared from the forum scrubbed from every corner of the internet by unknown hands, Billie returned to that same studio. This time, she wasn't alone. She brought a videographer. No grand setup. No polished choreography. Just her body, her breath, and one note taped to the mirror. This time, "I'm dancing for her." No one asked who her was. Maybe the girl she used to be. Maybe the girl she thought she'd lost. The new recording never surfaced. Not even a screenshot. All that exists is a rumor passed between studio employees who say they heard laughter echoing through the halls that day. Real laughter. Loud. Free. In her own words, Billie once said, "My songs are just journals I accidentally published." Maybe that dance was the journal entry she never meant for the world to read. But we did. And for some of us, it told a story we hadn't heard before but somehow knew by heart. If this story moved you, consider subscribing to Unseen Stories. We bring you powerful tales you've never heard, stories buried behind fame, silence, and shadows. Subscribe now and discover what the world forgot.